he doesn't necessarily need the saves or the buffs with him. At a certain point, he just comes online in his own right and demolishes people. So, in theory, he has a pretty good lane to get there, and this Nouns lineup is kind of slow. Like, it's not the fastest lineup for punishing heroes who just farm to arm with BKB. Pretty free Huskar game for the most part, I think. Outside of, he gets chronoed later on and killed in chrono, sure, but that's kind of life.
Yeah. All right, looks like the teams are going to be smoking in different directions, so that does give us time to do some predictions. How long will the game be? I mean, we were just talking about this before we started here. The games are going late, both in NA qualifiers, but also just the meta in general. So do you think it's 44 to 60 minutes? We're going to have that kind of game on our hands? Or do you think Huskar takes over the game too quickly?
No, 44 to 60, man. I don't believe these games end fast anymore.
I haven't seen a ton of ancient camps being stacked up lately. Number of ancient camps stacked by 30. I feel like nobody's really doing that much. Everyone's so focused on winning the lanes.
Well, this might be a high stack ancient game. I don't know. I'm going 11 to 15, right in the middle.
All right. Player with the highest magic or pure damage. I mean, Huskar is constantly putting out magic damage.
Yeah, but I'm going to go Fada. Just get the double Novas in the lane.
All right, last 5 seconds. Total number of blink daggers. How many we got?
I don't know, 0 to 2. I don't see any blink heroes.
Yeah, I don't see any blink heroes either. Maybe what? Dawnbreaker, Mars. Marcy doesn't really go it anymore. Yeah, there really isn't a whole lot of blink dagger heroes.
Well, this is just a farm heavy game. Like, we're looking at two basically tri-core lineups. That's why I think this game's going to go late too. You're just farming it up for both sides, and Quincy doing some lane dodge here. Trying to get this TV first, the Faceless Void, pretty interesting. I guess they just did not want to lane it versus Dawnbreaker, who is probably the highest early game magical damage versus him.
Yeah. Even though she has Starbreaker, everyone thinks of that ability. It's the hammer that's really the scary part in the laning phase, and it does do a lot of magic damage.
Very interesting lane setup. I mean, it also puts the CM versus the Chen, which might be the bigger thing here. And then Fada can just play to block the camps, kill some couriers, freeze a creep if he ever takes anything. But Husky's just going to go Aura here and help us Faceless Void farm.
And of course, the biggest matchup, and maybe something that I don't know if they really didn't have an option, right? To switch over lanes in any kind of way. Gunnar just has to tank this one. Huskar versus Ember Spirit.
No way around it. This is what the pick's designed to do, and Quinn is going to have a free-for-all in this matchup. There is not a lot of counterplay. You just take it, and you pray that you come back later.
Well, free-for-all applies many people in even odds, but this is just a one-on-one, and it's just a beatdown. It's free for him, not free for all.
Well, it's free for somebody, and it's not free for Gunnar. That's all I know. So
yeah.
Quinn is going to have a very happy time. He's probably already giggling to himself. As long as the Texas power grid holds up, he's probably winning this lane.
Does Quinn actually at all like get giddy when he really owns lanes?
I don't think he gets giddy. I have heard him say some stuff, if he like solo kills somebody twice or something, he'll probably laugh. He'd be like, "Oh, this guy's so bad," or something like that,
Yeah, that sounds like
But then he's back to professional. He's very professional in competitive games, man. I know people don't believe that, but he turns game face on. He's super serious, the people who are actually jokesters in games are probably the ones you wouldn't expect. They're the guys who seem super serious, and then in game they're jokesters. All the jokesters turn super serious. This is a law of Dota.
Boy, this mid matchup has actually gotten a little interesting now.
Ice armor.
They ran the Ogre Frost Mage over to help give Gunnar a little bit of a hand, and Huskar naturally just likes playing low HP anyway, so it's one of those situations where there could be an upset at any point in time, especially with any kind of the right rotation like this Vengeful Spirit. It's going to go for the Water Rune, though, and it makes things a little bit awkward for Z-Freak.
This is an interesting idea. Like, you can leave this Dawn alone down here a little bit, and Huskar is susceptible to these early ganks because he is always so low HP. He doesn't have the extra Berserker's Blood to keep him alive. So I like the idea of Nouns to at least try and help this lane a little bit. Every little bit helps. I mean, I'll tell you one thing too. If there's one thing that tilts Quinn, it's Frost Armor, man. I've never seen Quinn as mad at anything in Dota as he gets about Frost Armor. He thinks this spell is the stupidest thing in the game. Which
So people stacking mids, people camping on runes.
No,
RNG,
he doesn't care.
No, none of
It
that.
doesn't care. It's Frost Armor, man.
Frost Armor.
yeah, it's just. I mean, I tend to agree. The spell is like pretty busted, man. It's just like a free lane win most of the time. So they get some extra mental damage here, you know. He sees this Frost Armor on Gunner. He's like, oh, this guy can't win the lane, but now he gets broken Frost Armor. You know, you get some psychological edge. So I like that going for him as well.
Yeah.
It's gonna help out.
Also, I haven't really watched this bottom lane at all. How's it going? Leslau is 16-4 compared to Moo, who is 14-1. So it seems like it's going relatively even.
Yeah, I think Quincy's. I say that because of the in-game thing. Soniqs is pretty happy with all 3 lanes here. Their Terrorblades destroying this Void, actually. What the hell happened up here, man?
Oh, I mean, the Chen hasn't really been able to have any kind of impact.
Yeah, but I mean, the CS, like, is Yawar just this much better than the CSer?
Well, he does have 8 damage on the Void right now, and he's got the illusion. Like, surely he always has the attack damage advantage over Void because the illusions, right?
I mean, you have a little bit, but not this much, man. Like, this is ridiculous. 33-13 with 13 denies. I mean, he's basically opened up 1,000 gold in 5 minutes off CS alone. This is not a lane they're winning off regen trade or anything. Like, co-stability is pretty high HP. I mean, he's just getting out CS, man. There's no way around it. This is way too extreme for what it should be.
Well, you showed up to play today. That's for certain.
Yeah, drink him Red Bull or something. Or whoever the energy drink sponsors.
I don't think we have one yet. Mojo is going to die here as Nouns pick up the first blood. Both Z-Freak and Moo are kind of low, though. So Leslau should still be able to play the lane and might even be able to get a kill if the Marcy comes back. They're actually going to go on him. They're going to try and get him, and they do. They burst him down before he can get out the spear. If he was able to throw the spear, then maybe Moo dies by being pinned to the tower. MSS is actually going to rotate mid here. Gunner, of course, in a losing lane matchup, it means that he's not going to get 6 before the Huskar does. So there is a huge kill opportunity here. They blind jump in, but miss.
Well, at least it's a regen rune. Pretty much that's an anti-rune for Huskar.
Yeah.
I'm not too sad to see that one go. And yeah, I mean, they did a decent job of alleviating this mid lane. I mean, you're gonna lose it no matter what, but the problem is, yeah, these side lane, like this side lane in particular, Yawar just destroyed it, man. A death on top for this Faceless Void. That's really rough.
Well, it seems like Soniqs made a very smart move at going aggressive here with the Terrorblade. Yawar's individual play right now is setting them up for a pretty big win in this laning phase. He's doubling up almost on Costabile's net worth. Costa is already queued up the old comeback Midas.
Yeah, you just flat out destroyed him, and it just immediately puts him in an insane position. Like, the fact that Terrorblade is this farmed in a pretty decent Terrorblade game, and the biggest answer is probably like Ember and Faceless Void scaling into him in the late game. That's going to be way harder now because they both got shut down. It's pretty much going to come down to how much Moo can get done with the fact he got first blood and some extra kills down here. He's having a pretty good one himself. Slapping some fools.
Yeah, they tried to go on Z-Freak just now, but couldn't really combo their abilities up quite well enough. Quinn's almost got an armlet complete with the lead he's got in the mid lane. Gunner still struggling to get phase boots, but hey, at least he's level 6. He hasn't died yet, so props to him for that.
All right, TP's bottom. Trying to even out the score.
Should be able to, too, with the Frostbite into the pin of the spear. It's pretty easy.
Well, I mean, this is a part of the game where these Sonic supports can just roam around, and you pretty much have kill threat on all the lanes. Like, again, the Nouns lineup pretty passive at this point. They just want to farm up and get levels. This dual roam could do some serious damage right now. You have a lot of pressure points you can go to. You can go to this mid lane with the Huskar. You can go to this bottom, as we just saw with Mars, who now has level 6 online as well. You can even go to this Terrorblade because of how good a start he had. Just use meta, kick the Void out, and take the tower, potentially. I'd like to see these Sonic supports get pretty active here. I think there's a lot of room for it.
You think it's a mistake that they're chilling out right now? Like Fada's just hitting neutral creeps and MSS is pulling bottom. Do you think they should be actively rotating, or is camping bottom maybe the better idea?
I mean, it's okay. Like, when I say I want to be active, you know, you don't just run between every lane. I mean, what they're doing now is they're waiting to see where Mu goes. Because the one thing about them being aggressive is this Donald can turn the play very fast.
Ah, right, yeah.
So I think they want to see where Mu goes, and yeah, here's an ult.
They caught him. Whoa, Frostbite doesn't stop that, so it is going to land on top of Yawar. Yawar does get off his ultimate, though, and he's got meta. He's going to turn around, though. Ooh, this meta is not going to work. He doesn't spot Z-Freak. He thought with the range, he was going to be able to kill that support. That's a big loss.
Yeah, this is just a bad death. I mean, I thought they were, like, reading this correctly. You know, this Dawn is going to have ult. It's the one play nouns can make. Is this guy ulting into one of the other lanes and...
Oh, no!
Quinn?
He gets dragged all the way back to the tower. You gotta be careful when using Life Break on an Ember Spirit. He can drag you pretty far away if you're not careful.
Yeah, he's lucky the TP wasn't faster. Could have been his death, but... I was going to say...
Oh, slight dodge. Nicely played.
Still good. Yeah, this death top was just bad, because either you can go and fight there with TB, or you just tell him to jungle, and you wait for this Dawn to show, right? And then when Dawn shows, you can go on Dawn again with Mars ult, and there's no counterplay, because Dawn is the counterplay. It would have been super nice. I think that's what they were setting up for, and instead, they kind of missed that play, and this thing gets turned around top, so it's a huge swing, because Faceless Void gets a lot off this. He gets the kill top, and he gets to go bottom and farm. Suddenly, what was like a huge differential is... got cleaned up a decent amount here. And again, Noun's lineup, slow to start, but once the ball starts rolling, this is a Chen lineup. And Chen will out-farm your other two supports for the next 5 to 10 minutes here.
Z-Freak slowed down. Mojo's going to be able to combo off of it. Use the illusion. Jump on top of Z-Freak. Small little pick there off of support. Just trying to get some vision down. I don't know, just player-hero combinations. I'm not sure if I love seeing Z-Freak on bench.
I mean, they've done it a few times, or at least they play this hero a lot.
Stun one, into Frostbite. The Frostbite. Oh, it's the Crystal Nova, level 3 that finishes him off in the end. I thought he actually would have gone and maxed out Frostbite for the longer hold on the Faceless Void and the Ember, but no, went for the big damage and it worked.
Yeah, it helps give him some extra lane shove and out spam, I guess. I mean, Z-Freak will play anything, right? I mean, this guy literally just takes whatever the team wants to give him, makes it work. I kind of agree, this bench hero isn't the best playmaking for. It's kind of just a very straightforward hero. You try and get as many items as you can and help your cores, I guess. But if you believe in the strat, you believe in the team, that's what'll get you to the TI. They're gonna smoke the Void here. Post Midas usage. Try and get this Chrono activated. They really want to find Huskar, I guess. This is a long smoke, though, and I mean, you have the Donald that can come in. I just wonder if they have the damage.
These smokes are always kind of weird. Well, there's so much time. There's a lot that can go wrong, you know? You try and jump on Gunner. Actually toss him over, but Quinn, seeing the smoke break, he calls an emergency exit. Said there is no longer time to fight, so that just means that, I mean, it was awkward for both, but I feel like more awkward for Costa, who spent so much time. Quinn's gonna TP top and use the arena kill to finish off Mu.
Ooh, brutal death there for Mu. I mean, again, they don't want this Dawnbreaker being the one killed. They'd rather have them go on anybody else this game, because then he can turn it, and they get a good fight. It's kind of like a defensive-oriented lineup. Another reason why I think this smoke was ambitious, like, your lineup's just not really built to make these super deep, aggressive smoke plays. It's just going to be awkward for you. I think you rather farm and read where Soniqs wants to go and counterplay them that way. You have this mech on Shen. You have some frost armor going for you. Like, you actually are pretty tanky in this early game. It's not that easy for Soniqs to just aggressively go on some core hero here and make something happen. Which is maybe why Quinn's picking on somebody his own size, you know?
It is true. Adding on top of that, when it comes to any of these, they don't have the best lane shove on their side for nouns. And they're dealing with the Terrorblade, which right now the illusions are okay to deal with, but like eventually it's going to become a problem.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. This lineup, it's deceptively slow. it's kind of down to this Ember to deal with the map and the TB until Faceless Void gets to the very late game, which is why he went Midas here. They know the timing is going to be very late. And that means Huskar can just have the free game that we were talking about. I mean, he has 0 deaths, free farm on the lane, free farm the Ancients, soloed Roshan, he's level 11, Halberd coming out and 600 gold. He's going to push the tempo here. He's going to make you fight him at some point. Pretty terrifying. Not to mention his other 2 heroes are also top of the chart here, having pretty good games of their own.
Yeah. Well, nouns are definitely going to be, if you said play some slow reactionary Dota before, now with an Aegis and considering the lead that Soniqs have right now, it is definitely time to avoid any and all team fights. Maybe they can get some pickoffs here or there, like Fada perhaps. Fada actually not going to get picked off, and in fact finds an Observer Ward. Swap still goes down, but this is getting pretty deep here. They might be able to kill the Crystal Maiden.
The Ogre Smash.
Drops the ultimate. The Ogre Smash stopped him. All right.
Yeah, but at the same time, the Ogre Smash does not make up for Moo going down to this mid gank. That means mid tier 1.
I mean, anytime they kill Moo, it feels like there is absolutely no threat from nouns whatsoever.
Pretty much. Make sure you slight somebody, but that's about it. Well, that's Lau almost catching him too. You're gonna have to split push this map out. Like, you take the core kills when they come to you, wait out this Aegis. This Huskar is just untouchable. And he's gonna be untouchable for a very long time. Especially with Aegis for another 3 minutes. Alright, Dawn ult in the river.
Oh, throws out the arena. Couldn't get off the spear in time, but there is going to be the save from MSS. Now the jump in from Quinn with that Aegis. They might be able to take away that Aegis from him, but no, he gets the disarm off. He burns out the Dawnbreaker first. Doesn't actually continue chasing, surprisingly enough. Maybe afraid of going down and then getting locked into a Chronosphere on the second life.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have the best lockdown on his own either. It's still a kill for Faceless Void. Honestly, it's not the worst for nouns. I mean, it sucks Moo dies on this go. They would have rather had the Mars killer sling, but you are wasting some of this Aegis time. You get some extra gold for Faceless Void, which is huge. And then you get to farm the map. It's not the worst here. You just want to stall the game up. Whereas Soniqs really want to get the big team fights going so they can capitalize and then convert it into map control. Again, you look at the vision right now. 0 wards on the enemy side of the map from a dominant position. It's not always what you want to see. I mean, their lineup is farm heavy. Alright, this is a good pick.
Husky kills the ward, but dies in the process. A fate that most supports are going to suffer in Pro Dota right now. People are very, very good at protecting their wards nowadays, and it did help that Quinn had a haste room, too.
I mean, they have 0 obs on the map. Fada's going to place one on their own outpost here. It's like a kill obs. Try and see the Void when he gets too deep in the jungle. But still, again, this is not a Quincy lineup that I guess they feel super confident being aggressive. And maybe they're just super happy with their scale. Like, we just have the Tricore, we farm it up. The only reason I say it's weird is because they did rush this Blink on the Mars. So if you were playing just to like farm and our Tricore is better than yours, ha ha ha. I mean, you just go the farming Mars build, right? Like the double bracer, BKB, Ags, whatever you want to do. Sure. And you get Blink later. So the Blink tells them they want to be aggressive and fight, but they don't have the wards for it. So now, 3-man smoke into darkness might find good targets.
Leslau. He doesn't blink for it, but they are going to kill the Venge. Moo's going to get spotted here inside the arena and pinned as well. So they get both those kills. Very nice smoke rotation from Soniqs. Quinn actually TP'd over to join them as well.
That one's like the best target they can find again. Just locking down this Dawnbreaker, 5th death form. Half his teams. It's a rough one. I mean, that's a blind smoke. I was kind of surprised it worked as well as it did, but now they will finally get some deep obs out. So now they can start to crawl up the map control and accelerate the net worth lead, which is decently significant. I mean, 5k. No joke. Looking at the Void down here.
Oh, got him. They're They're gonna pull him back in. He actually pulled him away. He's gonna have to use the Chronosphere and run away with that one because of the pullback of the Dispos. Made it so that his time walk didn't get over the cliff.
A bit unlucky. You'll have to expend that ult. We'll waste out the Aegis timer here. I mean, Quinn's still looking at him.
Oh, and they still got him. This time around, they hit him with a life break after the time walk, and that is the killer for a Faceless Void early on. And soon, considered, especially since they got that kill, Quinn is going to have the Aghanim Scepter. And that is another huge answer to Ember and Faceless Void.
Yeah, he's an absolute monster. This Axe is going to destroy the game. It basically just guarantees to killing everybody. Nouns have to get something going here, and some more deaths is not what they're looking for.
No, it's not. I mean, he went from being halfway to Ags, and then 1 minute later, he almost has it straight up.
Yeah, he is incredibly farmed. And I like this Ags before the BKB. Like, he doesn't need the BKB here, I think. There's not a lot of magic damage anyway. Fast Ags just is going to close out the map. Like, you can just run around, ult anybody, guarantees the chain stun from his supports. There's not going to be fast BKBs here from downsides because they're just far behind. Like, just keep killing Fada. That's the answer.
It does seem to be the only thing Downs can kill right now.
They do have the double Maelstrom timing between this Ember and Void. It's worth something. Still, just how do they use it? I don't know. These heroes are so tanky. Mojo even won a mech. Pretty interesting. Unconventional item on Marcy. Very unconventional. So he's just playing to buff up his Tricore here. Make him as tanky as possible. Maybe play for this second Aegis Huskar high ground.
Yeah, there is like a very clear peak for Soniqs, right? It's Aghanim's complete is a big one. The BKB, second Roshan. And then they could just kind of ball up. And they've got a Terrorblade, so they've got a great hero for taking objectives. For him, the Terrorblade, it's going to be that Scotty timing. And they should probably all hit that timing around that second Roshan, so...
Yeah, it's going to be very nice. The other interesting thing is, if he goes Greaves, Greaves is actually very strong with Huskar. Because you always end up below the threshold. So you get the extra armor and stuff, which is pretty significant. So maybe that's part of the reasoning here. Like, because we do not see Greaves a lot in the current meta. It's a very expensive item. And the big up value is if the aura is useful, which generally hasn't been the case for a lot of heroes, but it's pretty nice for Huskar. Like, really nice. So it's kind of interesting.
Smoke up, ensuring that they have control of the Dire jungle, which sets them up to be able to control the Roshan pit as well, especially since they're Radiant side. It is going to be a relatively early Roshan, just a minute. Meanwhile, Nouns playing the other side of the map, knowing that they have to dodge. I assume they'll try and fight for Rosh, though. So I'm interested to see what kind of movement they make after they take this mid tower, because Roshan could be up anytime.
If they install the tier 2 top, that's super big. That's why Gunner's up here. He's doing a pretty decent job. Like, this will limit the amount of control Soniqs completely has over this outpost. Or at least the feel of it. I mean, they're getting good trades. They got tier 1 mid. They're pushing this bottom tier 2 with Chen. Putting Chen to the maximum use here. Fada's going to TP in. This is a bold TP, my friend.
Just straight up freezing field. All right. That's how to defend a tower right there.
Yeah. I thought he'd maybe get swapped or stunned there or something, but easy tower defense. Nouns are still all here.
Swap back onto Fada. Fada with his 4th death of the game out of the 7 kills that Nouns have netted so far. MSS just walked out of the pit, but I believe he pinged it. I believe he saw Roshan spawn at the last little second there.
This Roshan is contestable. Like, after this tier 2 gold infusion, a lot of net worth for Void. He's almost up to BKB. He won't have it, but he can still fight. You have Vlads, you have Mech. Again, the double Maelstrom, and you have this Halberd on Mu. The Halberd is still good versus Huskar because he doesn't have BKB. I don't know, you end up in a position where you manage to find the Chrono on this guy. He probably dies in Chrono, and then you can take the fight.
I wonder if Quinn is gonna hold on to buyback, because this is one of those like game-defining Roshan. This is a game-defining team fight, right? Like, even if you do get caught in the Chronosphere and die as Huskar, if he buys back, I don't know if nouns can stop him from roshing.
No, I mean, it's a super big rosh for Soniqs to close the game out with. If they don't get it, I don't think it means they can't win or anything, but this is a Roshan their lineup expects to get. Nouns being able to contest it would be huge. It is a difficult contest. They need a massive chrono, and they need someone to give vision for that to happen here. Coastability is still trying to finish this BKB. He will just finish it now, but a little too late. Rosh is pretty much dead.
Going on a walk. He is going to distract the enemy team for a while this Roshan is taken. They won't be able to get inside the pit fast enough. Aegis and Shard will be picked up by the Huskar.
All right, time for Quinn to go ham teasy on the map right now.
Oh yeah, the Shard. I forgot. I remember this Shard is really good against Faceless Void. You can pop it while you're chronoed. Oh, what a spear! He's got the Aghanims off of the Huskar ult too, so this Faceless Void's gonna take a lot of damage at the start of the fight, but he does have that BKB, so he still can fight through. MSS, he jumps, time locks up to the high ground, the second life of the Huskar. They also have the Scotty double damage on Yawar, so no wonder nouns are calling it full quits right now.
I mean, that was pretty decent. Yeah. Like, that looked really bad for nouns, but they end up getting the Aegis. They get an extra support kill for free. That was a meta DD for Yawar that he doesn't get to do anything with. Nouns just walk away. Very happy with that exchange. Fada is gonna die again, I think.
You think Fada's enjoying his time as a 5 position?
I don't know. I mean,
or do you think sometimes he gets a little bit of nostalgia of like the old days where he had farm?
I mean, if we're talking the real old days, you know, like his mid days when he was playing Shadow Fiend and Invoker, he built the same items, you know, mechs and drums and stuff. So
yeah, exactly. Mid mech all the time.
I don't know. I mean, this is the life of a 5. You know, sometimes you feed. I do think some of these deaths are a little bad, but they're not game costing or anything, right? It's just some extra food. But these kills do, like, numbers matter in Dota nowadays. It's a lot of random extra gold to some of these heroes. You just get a numbers advantage. It means Void's more confident to push out some lanes. Like, he is one of their big stuns. If you look at the Soniqs lineup, one of the weaknesses is outside of this spear, what is locking people down long enough for the TB and Huskar to deal the damage. Right. And you have this Huskar Ags, but it can get like disjointed with swaps and stuff. So it's kind of weird. You ideally want to take the fights with both your supports alive for Soniqs, because they are the big continual lockdown in the fight. Early gem pickup here for Z-Free. I wonder why they wanted gem this early in this game.
Well, they've got to... I feel like in some ways they can't beat the team fight of Quincy Crew right now. Excuse me, Soniqs. So they have to make sure that they just don't... They aren't under any vision, right?
Yes, but I mean, Moo just walks in here.
Well, you can't stop high ground vision, you know?
I just think it's a kind of weird game for early gem, because the TB is going to push the lanes in with illusions that are kind of hard to deal with regardless, and then like you just have to split push the map back with Ember and Void, and they're just going to be on lanes most of the time. So I don't know. It feels like a weird game for gem. Like, I don't think the jungle areas matter as much as the lanes, and is Z-Freak really going to be able to walk down lanes with this Gemmer Sling?
Sure, yeah.
Like, I just don't see them getting much value out of this. We'll see. It's an interesting idea. I mean, Gem is never bad. They have limited Soniqs vision a lot this game. So that is worth a lot. Now they do get to Mjolnir on Void. This is his biggest damage power spike for a long time here outside of the level 20 talent. He's ready to chomp some fools if he gets a good chrono. He's going to shred him. Again, no save for this chrono.
This, Quincy Crew has still just been very passive. Smoke's gonna break. Kosa immediately got halberted, and now he's taunted as well. That's gonna be slightly problematic, but he will survive. Now he has the Chronosphere on top of Quinn. Yeah, now he's got the disable out. Look at him. He hit all 3 cores to jump in from MSS. Everything to try and save Quinn here, but Quinn still dies. Leslow, here comes the big bad Terrorblade. Can he fight without the Huskar? They get a good arena, but everyone's so mobile that the only person stuck inside is actually Moo. So the buyback from Fada, I'm not even sure if he really did anything there, only nets them the kill on Moo in a return. Nouns, not a bad fight for them, and I'm still left wondering, like, Soniqs, what's their timing? Because I thought their timing was second Roshan.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of was. Just they have like 2 carries, right? They have this Terrorblade and Huskar that both want to hit their item timings, and then Fada's just been dying so much. The lineup synergy is just awkward. Like, they just jump Huskar. There's no save for him. There's no bailout. And Nouns can just all in him. And then once Huskar's down, they can just bail. Maybe somebody gets speared like we saw. Okay, Moo pays the price. But otherwise, there's not an insane amount of hard lockdown. They kind of just kite the Terrorblade. Like, this Soniqs lineup really wants to just push the objectives and fight around those where Nouns have to continually fight into them or they're losing the base or something. That's why Aegis is so valuable. You want to be forcing high ground, and then in a fight like that, even if Nouns get a kill and leave, okay, Terrorblade's still hitting your base and taking your racks. Now you don't have Chrono. In a fight like that, it's pretty bad for Soniqs because they just trade and then Nouns go back to farming. And now your Chrono is coming up on cooldown. Huskar has to walk across the entire map again to try and punish you. It feels pretty bad. This feels pretty bad for Soniqs right now. The one upside is Yawar is still extremely farmed in a pretty decent Terrorblade game where they haven't been able to focus him down because Huskar is too annoying. But this won't exist forever. Like, I do feel like these Noun supports are going to help their core scale more than the Soniqs ones.
Yeah, that is kind of a interesting concept because the Tricor versus Tricor matchup, all things are even. Like the Dawnbreaker, I'm just looking at scaling items right now. Like the Dawnbreaker has gone a little bit more of a utility route if he's going to go back for the Blink Dagger, the pretty heavy utility. Meanwhile, Leslow, who went the early Blink Dagger, is actually going to go for an AC next item, which will be a pretty huge change in team fights for, well, everybody involved.
It's just he didn't build the scale, right? Which I understand because he has 2 carries, but in a way I actually think that's kind of how their lineup functions. So it's awkward. Like, I feel like his impact is going to be a little limited here going into the late game.
Yeah.
Something interesting to point out, too, is I don't think I've ever seen this, but Z-Freak has neglected to skill Vengeance Aura, instead opting for stats.
What?
Choosing to take it away from the reflection. Right?
Oh.
But I am thinking about this. Is it worth it? I'm not sure. Because I think...
It can't be worth it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would still skill it here. Because I think the world in which you are behind your cores and it's buffing your cores and it doesn't get reflected is way more likely. But if he's just going to be super sacrificial and run in and swap himself, then it pays off, right? You don't give the reflection aura, so... A pretty interesting choice. And Yawar has a Hex as well. Very interesting decision in this game, and he got Chrono.
Bob Samantha, but still stuck inside the Chronosphere. They're going to have the Dawnbreaker ultimate to follow up after this one. Meanwhile, the Ember Spirit's being controlled. You are. He's trying to get on the Sunder, but the bash is too much. Quinn is now going to get swallowed up by the just Nouns parade of heroes running around this dire jungle. They collect 3, and now chasing after more. Fortunately for Leslow, he found an Invis rune, so he TP'd out off of that. Third Roshan is free for the taking for Nouns. We talked about things just kind of like... not really spiraling out of control, but just kind of like slowly drifting out of Sonic's hands. Yeah. And we're seeing the power of late game Nouns lineup, that's for sure.
I mean, their lineup just is more straightforward in its idea. Like, you just jump and chrono these Sonic cores, and there is no save. That was the downside of this lineup from the get-go. Like, the Huskar pick is cool. You destroy the lane, you get the early Roshans, they can't contest you, but what happens in the late game fights? There's just nothing to help him. I also think... like, you could go this shard rebound play on Marcy, because it's one of the better saves versus Chrono, right? You can throw somebody out.
Yeah.
I really think this should have been the play from Mojo. Like, I don't think Mech is changing this game in hindsight. I don't think it does anything. I think rebounding your dudes out of Chrono is absolutely massive. Like, changes the game entirely. Because then TB can get Chronoed or Huskar can get chronoed, you take him out, you can take the fight. Like, now you're just in a weird spot. I don't know. The itemization and how to play this lineup is a little weird for me. Like, the Hex on Yawar.
That says that things are just not going as planned. Like, they
Yeah,
got some problems if
lockdown.
your carry is going Hex.
I mean, especially third item on a Terrorblade is just... Like, you need it for a very specific purpose, and I understand it, but now he has to be the guy just going in and hexing somebody? He's gonna try it here, shard on the ground. What's happening?
Okay.
What?
Could be really good. They get the pin off of that as well. This is the Ember Spirit caught in the pin. Costa Vila is able to get off his feet.
buyback.
They immediately buy back, and the Ember Spirit's back into play. With the Dawnbreaker coming in, they're making a mess out of it. The Huskar goes down first. Now, Yawar, they actually do manage to get the pin, and that's going to be the first life of the Faceless Void. He managed to get up the Sunder. Second life on both carries, but it's outnumbered. Nouns have too many heroes. They quickly deal with the Terrorblade on his second life and chase down Leslau. They have the extra Chronosphere. They're going to make sure he's not going anywhere. That is going to be a team wipe.
I mean, that just feels like the game, too, man. Like, if you're not winning that fight when there's no chrono, I mean, yeah, there's Aegis, but these fights are just not getting better for you. It was an Ember buyback. It was a Venge buyback, so you have some glimmer of hope there in terms of some economic damage, but I just feel like the gas has been taken out of the Soniqs lineup, and you're at the point in the game where the Chen is starting to take the fights over, right? Damage mitigation, the extra heal, sustain, the auras. It's just too much.
Something definitely went wrong. Something definitely went wrong for Soniqs. And Nouns, I mean, they did a good job, I would say, and just like chilling out, right? Like, we were concerned about their lineup and if they were going to be able to stop Soniqs from being able to run them over, but they didn't really get caught too often. They just kind of like chilled out, farmed out a bunch. They got the right kind of team fights. That second Roshan fight where they took away the Aegis from the Huskar, you talked about how important that was. So...
No, they played this game decently well. I mean, the early game was rough, but that was just the nature of the beast. I mean, they still have this refresher shard on Void even, so, like, I mean, they're cruising in this game. I still think it goes back to, like, this is a first phase Faceless Void, and he just has a free game. I mean, you can understand a world where you're supposed to snowball lanes, and then you're locked down with, like, Huskar Ags and Spear, and you're just killing him, and you're too tanky, but still, like, again, I think you could have itemized on the Marcy to have the chrono save. You could have picked another support that helps deal with it, or like some vision hero, whatever. Just giving this hero from first phase such a free game is like, it feels bold to me, you know, because you end up in these types of games where if you mess up once, the game becomes very hard. This hero is an absolute beast in these types of engagements, so you're just putting yourself in a high pressure situation or high execution. And the execution wasn't 100%. Slipped a little, and now you're in a tough spot. You got to play on your vision and try and jump the void, which is what they're doing. This is the correct play. They can chain stun him with the Hex, but it has to be on the vision. Like, there's no other way.
I don't think they've ever hit a life break where Yawar is close enough to like hit the target while they're taunted. You know, I feel like those two have always been a little bit separated.
Yes, it's been a little disjointed. I mean, the other thing is, this is a tricore from Nouns with 3 BKBs. We saw a lot of these fights. It just turns into a BKB slap each other fest. And some of that prevents Terrorblade from getting a good Sunder. Like, a couple times it's happened. So these cores just BKB, they all jump you. Like, what's the big counterplay and reset, right? Does Hex help you in that situation? I feel like it does not. I feel like something like Butterfly or Satanic might bail you out of that engagement. Whereas this Hex is purely aggressive. Like, the second the fight starts, the BKBs are up. You cannot use this Hex. So you have to fight on vision, and you have to jump them, which is not that easy for Terrorblade to do. He's not like the best jumping hero in the game, you know?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, very weird game from Soniqs, like, going down the stretch here. Radiance for Moo. Ooh, that's pretty spicy.
Yeah.
Extra AoE evasion.
Yeah,
seems
it
pretty
works
decent.
pretty well against Terrorblade, right?
Oh yeah. He just ulted to them to smoke. What a boss play.
Damn. That's a move and a half. That's some confidence. That's saying we don't even necessarily need this ultimate. Swap back into the rest of the team. They really don't. I bet BKB was just pure safety from Costa.
I mean, this game is insanely in their control. They still have Refresher Shard on this Void. So they still have double Chrono if they need it. I mean, they're just in coast mode now. Like, this game does not get harder for them. It just gets easier. I mean, they almost have an Ags on this Venge. It's just, there's going to be way too many.
Yeah, now he actually had to level Vengeance Aura, because I'm pretty certain you don't get the Spirit without having that aura.
It is attached to the spell, so he had no choice.
What an interesting idea from Z-Freak. All right,
really
time to go high ground. Let's see if nouns slip up at all and give Soniqs an opportunity back into the game.
I mean, the best way to fight is to spear back into the Hex. That's what I would say. Like, you can... It is a very spooky high ground. I'm surprised they didn't try and punish him there. Like, if Void hits that high ground, you spear him back, break the Lincolns into Hex, he can die.
Yeah, you do require somebody to keep the Venge away from getting a swamp. Maybe the arena could keep him far enough away, not sure.
You probably can. I mean, high ground defense is probably the best place for Soniqs to fight. It's either that or a high ground ward, because you have to just jump one of these cores and burst them. They're going to try some, like, side lane wrap here. Go for the cliff ward.
I feel like what you're saying, the high ground defense, it sounds like their best chance of winning a fight. So going outside the smoke, it may catch nouns by surprise, but I'm still not convinced it's better than waiting for the high ground opportunity. We'll see. Maybe they get the right opening. They're just sitting around this ward right now.
I mean, they have no choice. Impossible to fight unless they get the jump.
Oh no, he got spotted by the Chen creep. So nouns.
Just hit the base.
Yeah, go hit the base. Hit the tier 3.
Coast ability is up to Scotty now as well, so he's a lot tankier. Pretty hard to burst him. They might have to try here, though. I think you still go for it. Oh, almost got him.
Swap back onto Quinn. Immediately pops the disarm on everything. They get the stun, and nice. 2-man Chronosphere. There is going to be the scythe down from UR pretty quickly, but there is still the problem. They do manage to pull him out of the Chronosphere, but this Huskar, there's way too much physical damage. He is overwhelmed every single time by 3 cores. They just pounce on him. And Soniqs, they don't have any sort of AoE to punish that kind of group up. The BKBs are on cooldown now, so nouns are going to chill out. They actually managed to get the pin. The refresh goes out, but they still managed to get the taunt. The disarm goes away. They need to be able to get the lockdown, but swap back. The Void is going to be saved, and Moo once again comes in for the cleanup. Another beautiful Chronosphere. That's going to make sure UR gets nothing out. Honk, 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 honk. And nouns will close out game number 1 in the upper bracket finals.
I was telling you, man, these types of lineups they're playing, they're good in these types of qualifiers, and if you're not ready for them,